Because I'm lavish, not baggage, and I'm determined to have it. With nothing in my way, I'm going into space. Welcome everybody to the Lavish Show. On today's show, I have a special guest. He's running for Justice Court Judge and goes by the name of Mr. Matt Hoggatt. He will be on the show today discussing his campaign and why he is running. And I want you to support the Lavish Show and everything about Creative Women Television Network that we're doing. So make sure you sit back and relax and enjoy the Lavish Show and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Shira Starworth, or at Miss Lavish 1. Stay tuned. Welcome everybody to the Lavish Show. I am sitting with a wonderful guest, and he goes by the name of Mr. Matt Hoggatt. How are you?
Hey, Shira. Thanks for having me.
So good to have you here, and you are running for Justice Court Judge?
That's correct.
Awesome. Well, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I grew up here in Jackson County. I'm originally a Gautier native. I've lived here my whole life. I'm 44 years old. Be 45 in September. I'm not counting that anymore. And I'm married with 3 kids. I got a son that's in Hattiesburg. He's 24. And I have 2 daughters. One is going into college and one is going into high school at Gautier High. So that, personally speaking, that's kind of my story. I live in Gautier. I'm a retired police officer.
Oh.
So for 20 years, I was a cop here in Jackson County.
Really?
Most of that time I was a detective, and now I'm a teacher. I teach at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College.
Wow, you well-rounded. I love that. So you have been serving the community for a long time.
Pretty long time, yes.
Wow, so even in law enforcement, tell us a little bit about that with law enforcement, some things that you have learned, doing that throughout the years.
Well, pivotal things have pretty much driven me to do everything I've done in life. As a young kid, I remember my parents getting a truck that they owned stolen from the front yard. I remember the feeling of that. I remember watching my mom, who taught you.
Yes.
She had all of her teaching stuff. All her teaching materials were in the back of the truck, had a camper shell on it.
Wow.
Somebody stole it, vandalized it, tore up, and just destroyed everything in the back of it. I remember watching how she felt as a kid. I remember as I got a little older, somebody broke into my truck and stole some things, and I remember when I was 15, I had some guys detain me and arrest me for robbery outside of a business and pulled a gun on me. And I remember sitting there thinking, this isn't fair.
Right.
This isn't fair. It shouldn't be like this. Why do they do this to me? Those things kind of piqued my interest as a young guy to try to be more interested and curious about law enforcement, law, crime, investigations, the judicial system. And that's what kind of got me into that. I went into college out of high school. I was in the Army National Guard. I served 7 years, got a GI Bill to go to school. And I started studying criminal justice. And as a part-time job, I became a 911 dispatcher, which is a pretty interesting
I bet it is.
You learn how to answer the phone in a really challenging way.
That's right, that's right.
But that got me onto that track, and from there I ended up as a policeman and a detective, and that's what steered me throughout that career.
Yes, your life is so interesting. As you said before, your mother, Miss Hoggatt, taught at Gautier Elementary, so I do want to give her a lovely shout out and thank her for what she has instilled in me. And raising you as a son, I mean, you have experience that we need for this position of Justice Court Judge, right?
I think
so tell us about your experience with the Justice Court. Many people don't know the difference between circuit court or justice court.
Right.
You know, give us a little feedback on justice court.
It's a confusing thing, and it's something that's a common confusing factor, particularly for anybody that's a younger person these days. So to give it to kind of put it to you plainly, justice court judge is basically, they used to be called justices of the peace.
Okay.
And you could quite frequently encounter somebody in that position if you went to the courthouse and they married you.
Okay.
Or if you found yourself getting like a speeding ticket or a ticket for illegal fishing or hunting, anything the highway patrol might write you a citation for or arrest you for that's a misdemeanor. Or you may find yourself in civil court where someone is suing you for under $3,500 worth of damage.
Wow.
You know, a lot of people kind of compare it to Judge Judy or that sort of thing. But it's a misdemeanor court for misdemeanor crimes in Jackson County and civil lawsuits under $3,500.
Okay.
So it's a gateway, is what it really is. If you found yourself arrested or pressing charges on someone through the sheriff's office, this is the court where you would find yourself.
Wow.
But these judges, particularly, there's 4 of them. Another part of their job is they approve and they look over search warrants for any law enforcement agent in the county. They also conduct preliminary hearings for felony cases that can come up, and they deal a lot with domestic violence, which is a huge problem, you know, as you've seen recently in the news. So they deal with a lot of things, but really, the way I interpret it, it's like a gateway.
Right.
So most people that find themselves dealing with the criminal justice system only deal with it through a lower court. Like they might get a speeding ticket, or they may find themselves having to press charges on someone for stealing something under $1,000 worth of value or something.
Right.
But everybody that ends up experiencing the justice court, they either tend to like learn their lesson, or they get whatever it is that they're after, and they go on about their way in life. But for a lot of people, particularly folks we see in prison now, nearly every one of them started out a life that got them there at the justice court level.
At the justice court level.
And I've always felt like there needs to be more done. If we're going to treat it like a gateway, we need to treat it as an avenue that if people walk through it, there's some options there, not just the penitentiary eventually or not.
That's right. You know, in your experience as a detective, as a cop, and you serve the community, that is going to be so beneficial in your decision making.
I think so.
As being a judge for justice court. And I appreciate you for running, because this is not something that's private.
That's right.
You put your life on the line, you put your family on the line. So I applaud you for that, Mr. Hoggatt. And also in justice court, like you said, y'all deal with a little bit of everything.
Yes. Everybody's business.
Oh my goodness. So what district are you covering?
So it's District 3 is the one that I'm running in. And if you put like a paintbrush on it, it'd be mostly Van Cleve down to North Gautier, West Hickory Hills area. And then there's a swoop down, I have to use that word, there's a swoop down towards East Ocean Springs and St. Andrews area and West Gautier, like Point Clear area of Gautier and that sort of thing. So it's pretty confusing. I found that it's really confusing to voters. And so I haven't really limited myself to staying within a certain boundary.
That's right.
I just go throughout the county. If I get elected, I'm not just dealing with District 3 people, I'm dealing with county.
Everybody,
What I tell people is, if I'm on the ballot, please vote for me. If I'm not, don't worry about it.
And that is so serious, getting people out to vote. That's what we are trying to do with the community of Jackson County, engaging people to get out and vote. We have tons of people living here, diverse people, living here on the coast, and a lot of people don't know where their voting precinct is, nothing. So, and I know you have encountered that on your campaign, so tell our audience, why should they vote for Matt Hoggatt for Justice Court Judge? Tell us why.
Well, for the last 28 years, I think it is, there has not been a single change as far as the judge goes in District 3. Been one judge there for 28 years.
28 years?
That's right. So I am running against him. Judge Thornton has been in office a very long time. So my theory on that is, he's a great guy, he's a colleague, and I'm not running against him, I'm running for a position.
I love it.
But over the last 20 years, over the last 10 years, just since COVID, we've seen an explosion in this country, in this state, and in this county in crime. And I'm talking about young people, fentanyl. I'm talking about just last week, I think there was 8 cars stolen in Gautier from a TikTok challenge, one in my own neighborhood.
What?
And so I'm sitting here looking at all these changes. We have to get out there and we have to get ahead of these problems. We can't wait for them to happen and then try to change it. Nobody has a time machine.
That's right. That's right.
I can't change a lot of the problems in this world, but what I can do and what I've pledged to do and what I'm already doing is take the level of this job of a justice court judge and work outside of the office a little bit. And I'm pledging to go to every school in the county every year. I'm going to start a youth outreach program. I'm going to work in conjunction with another judge that's already got something like that going on this, because we have to color outside the lines a little bit if we ever hope to finish this picture, which is success. We can't do it just by defining what the job says. We've got to do it staying in that lane.
That's
We've got to get outside the box.
You have to get outside the box.
We're in war right now.
That's right.
For the youth of our county, against a culture of if it seems good, if it feels good, let's just do it kind of mentality. We can't have that. We're going to turn into New Orleans. And I was giving somebody a statistic the other day.
True, man.
There was about 188 murders in New Orleans last year. Okay, we're about 90 miles, give or take, right now from New Orleans. That's like driving to New Orleans and seeing a dead murder victim every mile of the way there. Turn around, driving back and seeing another one every mile of the way. We're only 90 miles from that, and that is already affecting us here in our county, because people that are breaking laws and committing these violent crimes, they're coming through the interstate, Highway 90.
That's right.
Those things are happening here.
That one thing I like is that you are aware.
It's happening.
I study
aware. This, so we got to get out there. We got to get with our young people. We got to immerse ourselves in their life.
Yes.
And we got to put ourselves out there in a way that gives them an outlet to do something else and to spark their interest. And if everything goes as planned, I will inspire the next young person that will run for my position, because I will not stay in office 20 years. I don't believe that is the way our system wasn't set up for that.
That's right. That's right.
But if nobody runs against you, to me, that's the most disheartening thing out there.
That's right.
And no one has challenged my competitor until now, and it's me. So
that is so true.
So we got to get out there. We got to inspire these young people to do it and get out there and get involved, and we can change these things.
Because people change, time change, crime.
Exactly.
And you got to have somebody to speak to those issues and speak to what's going on in this time frame, even dealing with the youth. When we come back from commercial break, I want you to talk about Generation Z. Is that what you're saying? When we come back, we're going to talk about that. So y'all stay tuned. We have Mr. Matt Hoggatt for Justice Court Judge. Welcome back, everybody, to the Lavish Show. I'm sitting with candidate for Justice Court, Mr. Matt Hoggatt, and we were discussing before the break Generation X, Generation Z. I want you to tell our audience a little bit about why you feel that you can speak to Generation X and Generation Z.
The way I describe Generation X is we're just old enough to feel like we have some seasoned sense about ourselves, but we're young enough to think we're still cool. But at the same time, the teenagers don't agree with either one of us. Right? So that's what I feel about it. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm a proud Gen Xer, because I'm proud of some of the things that I think my generation was responsible for.
Okay.
For one thing, Gen Xers, typically like myself, we grew up in riding around the Singing River Mall on a Friday night, right?
Right.
We listened to all kinds of music, not just one kind.
Yes.
We had diverse backgrounds. We were maybe one of the early generations to kind of be out there in the middle of just about a little bit of everything.
Everything. I love it.
And I've always been really proud of that. And if you were to go look at my CD collection, I still have a CD collection.
Yeah.
Maybe the only few people that has one anymore. You would be able to see that, my taste in music, and it reflects my background. But
Yes.
I think music is a reflection of culture.
Yes.
And it's a way to gauge society. You know, if they came back and excavated our area 1,000,000 years from now and they saw what we were listening to, they'd be able to kind of tell what kind of people live there.
That's right, that's right.
So as a musician, I've always felt like that kind of was a reflection of my background, and I'm just kind of open to different things,
I love
open
it.
to ideas, different people. I think it's uninteresting, and I'm not interested in any kind of world where we're all the same and we all agree on the same thing.
That's right.
You know, so that's what I consider my Gen X philosophy.
I love it because growing up in Gautier myself, even though I was born and raised in Pascagoula and now living in Moss Point, Mississippi, Gautier is where I graduated from, and you're right about the music, the diverse culture.
Yeah.
Everybody loves everybody.
Right.
You know, Gautier is a small community with the mayor being
Casey Vaughn.
Casey Vaughn, shout out to him.
Yes.
You know, and he's doing a great job in Gautier. I just love the culture of that community. Like you said, you can get along with everybody.
That's right.
You know, and that generation you're going to speak to, you know, and you have compassion and capacity. A lot of times people run for things that they don't have the capacity for.
Right.
And I feel like you had a capacity. So I want to hit you with this education because this is a big thing going on in Mississippi right now.
Right.
You know, Mississippi children needs adequate education. The teachers need teacher pay raise, you know, but some people may not feel the same, you know, and you being an educator yourself, you know, you're on the front line in education because you teach now. Tell us a little bit about how you feel about education in Mississippi.
It's like anything else. You're going to get what you give. If you don't pay people, you're not going to get quality people. And that's in any profession and anything we do, from McDonald's to Litton Industries to NASA.
Quality people.
I look at job postings quite frequently because one of my jobs as an educator now is to help young people get jobs out there. And I get on Facebook and I look around and I look at particularly North Mississippi struggling to fill teacher vacancies, to the point where they're willing to cut corners on qualifications and standards and different things like that just to get people in there. You can't do that. You have to find a way to bridge that gap. Just a few weeks ago, a middle school substitute teacher in Ocean Springs was arrested for a sex offense while teaching. You know, and it was a temporary but full-time sub from my understanding. He's innocent until proven guilty. But we should never have a situation where that's even some type of thing.
That's right.
And so we have to pay people if we want to get people to work there.
That's right.
And you can't not do that with anything. If there's you know, it's just common sense.
It's common sense.
And I can understand, you know, people that might think that, I hear this a lot, well, teachers get the summer off. They shouldn't have it, you know. I was like, okay, go be one, because I'm one right now, you know. You do spend a lot of your money on things out of your own pocket. My mom told me that when she was a teacher. I didn't understand it then, I understand it now.
Yes.
You spend a lot of time, I think more time now, on your off the clock hours.
That's right.
Emailing, texting, WebExing, Zooming, Skyping, FaceTiming.
Everything.
So, you know, I think we need to relook at that as far as education goes.
That's right.
It's not a judicial answer to that injustice, but, you know, for young people that want to become teachers, I know that you can't motivate them if there's not a dollar sign attached.
That's
to
right.
It, you know?
I mean, you
first thing you got to do, you know.
You answer that well. I love it. I love it. It is what it is, and we have to fight for it. You know, because our children are the future.
They are.
They are the future, and you know, a lot is going on in Mississippi. Even with myself running, you know, for state representative, a lot is going on. We talked about public safety. We talked about education. What is your stance on what's going on with this big case? And it probably don't have anything to do with Justice Court right now, but you know, we hearing a lot about, you know, what's going on with Brett Favre and the Tandem scandal and all that stuff. I want to ask you about ethics. That's what I want to get to. Ethics. Do you believe in ethics reform? What do we need to do as Americans, as citizens of Mississippi? What do we need to do with this ethics? And I know you are a person of ethics because you served on the police force, in the military, you know, so tell me your stance on ethics.
The basic way I explain this to my students is if it doesn't seem right, if it doesn't smell right, if it doesn't look right, you have to look into it a little bit deeper if it's involving a government entity or any type of agency or program that people should have input on. So ethics basically affects just about everything we do.
That's right.
Law enforcement Colleges have a huge part to play in ethics. Anywhere where there's a lot of money coming in and you have people that different hands touch it, there's ethics involved. For that particular situation, nobody obviously has the answers to what's going on. There's fact, there's truth, there's different versions of truth sometimes in life. But the only thing I can say is there deserves to be a time whenever there's questions asked like that it needs to be out in the open, sunlight needs to hit it, and there should be an area where it can be looked at and people can make up their own minds.
That's right.
And so,
that's right.
I don't even know I don't understand all the implications of that. But it's definitely something that we can quite certainly tell people are not happy with.
That's right.
The current state of what the answers are or what they perceive the answers
That's
to be.
right. That's
And
right.
so if you can't answer questions and you don't know if there's an issue or not, then that's the mere definition of needing to look into the ethics of something.
That's right. That's right.
It's just
Because we have guidelines to follow.
That's
Even
right.
in running for positions, you have guidelines to
Yep.
follow.
Yep.
And
Yep.
one thing I like about you, Mr. Hoggatt, is your heart is in it.
Yeah.
Your heart is in it. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're Republican, you're Democrat, or you working with them, or you working with that."
Right.
It's about your heart. I had a police officer tell me, "Miss Stallworth, when I go to someone's house that's in domestic violence or there's a crime being committed, I don't sit and ask them, are you a Republican or a Democrat?
Right.
Before I start to assist them.
Mm-hmm.
We have to assist because we are called to serve.
That's correct.
So one thing I love about you and your campaign that you're running, you are serving the community and you are very well rehearsed and intelligent.
Thank you. Thank you very
Intelligent.
much.
So, tell our audience a little bit more about, what do you want to do in the purpose of this role as a justice court judge? The purpose of that role, what do you want to do with that purpose?
Well, all the judges that we have in office now, they all kind of have their own, I wouldn't say specialty, but their own uniqueness about each of them. It kind of gives them an edge. Judge Packer has a great program for the youth. He's got a really interesting background.
Yes.
Judge Dice, Judge Lassase, Judge Thornton, he's been there a long time, great legacy. I want to build my sort of uniqueness around the idea of outside the court work and engaging with the youth. And the reason for that, two reasons for that really. One is, I live here, I like it here, and I'd like it to be better. And my kids deserve it to be better.
Yes.
And yours do too, and we can do that, but we need some help, and I think I have a plan for that. The other part of it is, pivotal things have got me to where I'm at today. I took an assignment at the sheriff's office one time to be a school resource officer in Van Cleve. My job was to be the school police for the lower elementary, upper elementary, middle school, and high school. It was just me. They posted the advertisement up at the sheriff's office during the summertime for anyone interested to sign up. And it stayed up for about a month and no one signed up for it. 2 months went by and nobody signed up for it. Eventually, I think I was the only person that signed up. And I asked my boss at the time, I said, why is no one wanting to do this? And I said, it's a great job. It's 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. You get the weekends off. But the problem with it is you got to work around kids. And, you're going to be in fights all day with kids fighting at school and the parents. And I was like, really? I was like, is it that bad? Because I've never heard of that. You're making it sound like we're in a war zone.
Right.
So I went up there and I took this position, and they sent me to Jackson for 2 weeks to become a school certified resource officer.
Wow.
And it was the most enlightening thing. I got to see the other side of education that I've never been in as a student. I got to work with administrators and teachers. Got to kind of be a mentor to young people, and it inspired me to go back to school.
Wow.
So I went back to college while I was doing that, and I ended up graduating my bachelor's degree in, just about a year after I started that assignment.
Right.
And, got my bachelor's, I got my master's degree, I rolled right into that, finished that in criminal justice at William Carey. And now I just made the halfway point. I'm about to begin my dissertation process on PhD in criminal justice.
I love it.
But pivotal moments, if I hadn't taken that assignment, I don't know if it would have inspired me to go back to school.
Right.
But I got to see one thing that I never noticed before in law enforcement, and that's that a lot of kids, the only normalcy that they have in their life is at school.
That's
When they go home, that's really a worse place for them.
I love it.
And
I
so
love it,
we
yeah.
got to figure out a way to do something about that a
Yeah.
little better. I
And
think.
I love that you made that statement, because so many people don't understand that. I had a
Yeah.
doctor tell me, he said, well, Shara, you know, the school districts are going to school.
Mhm.
Most of them are going, they say, all year round.
Right.
I know
right.
Morris Point School District is doing
We
it,
just
you know.
went to Gautier too. Yeah.
Yeah, Gautier Pascagoula School District all year round. But a doctor said, you know, it may not be so bad, because a lot of times children see school as
Yeah.
a place of safety, a place where they can eat,
That's
and
it.
normalcy, as you spoke to.
Mhm.
You know, when they get home, they have to fight for food.
Yeah. If
They
got it,
home
yeah.
alone. You know, they don't have the resources that they need.
That's
And
right.
in our district, a lot of our children stay with their grandparents.
That's right.
So that's what I'm talking about. You know, it goes beyond the bench, as Mr.
Yeah,
Packer, Terrence
that's
Packer,
exactly
Judge said.
Yeah.
It goes beyond the bench, and I know that you would do that with
Yeah.
most of your
Yeah.
people that you see that come to court. You would
That's
go
right.
beyond the bench.
You guys, so my plan with that is to build a program. After if I get elected to office, within 90 days, I'm going to reach out to every court administrator in the county, every police chief, and the sheriff, whoever that may be. I'm going to ask them to dedicate one person from each agency to serve on a advisory board.
I love it. I love it.
And you know, if we might call it the Jackson County Youth Justice League. We may just try to team up with Judge Packer and make this part of Beyond the Bench. I don't really care. You know, the principle behind it is I want to get people to create a program where once a month we can get young people,
That's right.
either they're just interested in legal stuff, or if they're in high school and they have to do that career exploration course where they have to job shadow, they can come to this once a month program and get that out of the way. I want to have hands-on job experience stuff in the legal field. I want to have police, lawyers, social workers, defense attorneys come put on presentations. Victims of crime. I want inmates that have been through the system, current inmates that are going through drug court, come in and talk about their experience to these young people. And we're going to get some, you know, somebody asked me, how are you going to get young people to come to that? And I'm going to tell you right straight, we're going to make them.
We're going to make
and this is how we're going to do it. If you're under 25 or you're a first offender and you're in justice court, this could be an alternate sentencing thing right here.
Okay.
And you got to come to a certain amount of these.
Yeah.
No more writing reports. They're just going to use artificial intelligence for that.
Yeah.
So make them come. And we're going to get some kids that are just interested in that sort of thing. And then we're going to get some that are trying to fill that 3-hour job shadow experience. And I'm going to work with our schools and make this open to that. And you know what? It won't solve everything.
That's right.
But it might change somebody's life.
It's going to change and it's going to help. And you know, that's some of the same ideas that I had. You know, if I am elected to be state representative of District 110, my job is to work with people like you.
You got to. It's right.
I am the liaison between the state and my district, and I would love to work with you. You know, and we thinking positive right now because I want to see you in that seat.
You got to. You know, it's a tough thing. But I do a lot of recruiting and a lot of outreach stuff with the college now, trying to put people in school.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that are not going to college, not because they can't, or not because they can't afford it. You can get a loan to go to college, just pretty much giving them away almost.
Right.
But a lot of people have a hard time just getting to that door where they walk in it and say, "Can you help me?
Can you help me?"
And if the person on the other side is not willing to help, they might turn and walk away and you just never see them again.
Right.
And so it's the same way with people in criminal justice that end up in court. If you don't have something there that can maybe help them, then you're not helping them.
That's right.
You know, so I'm just outside the box.
I love it.
You know, we got to do something. Our kids deserve it. You know, why not try?
Okay.
You know, it's never been done. Let's do it.
All righty. Well, we've been talking to Mr. Matt Hoggatt. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, he's going to tell you how to get in contact with him and his campaign, how to get a sign. So stay tuned to the Lavish. Well, tell our audience your final words. Why should we vote for you, and you know why you want your constituents to support you?
Well, I'll give it to you in a question. Somebody asked me a question the other day, and they said, "We've had somebody in office that seems to be doing the job well for the last nearly 30 years. Why should we change horses in the middle of the stream at this point?" And I'd say, Are you ready to cross the stream? We've been in it for 28 years. And I love my opponent, but I disagree with that amount of time in office. It's just not something I will strive to do. I will not be there that long. I think times have changed. We need to change with them, and I'm ready to do that. I'm not the answer to every problem that exists, but I'm willing to look for solutions. I want to work with people. I want to come up with new, innovative, diverse ways of doing things.
Yes.
I don't think we get out of the situation we're in by doing the same thing.
That's right.
If all you ever do is all you ever did, then all you're gonna get is all you ever got.
Wow.
You know, and so I'm ready to take that challenge. It's a passion for me. I don't have to do this, but it's something that I want to do, and I'm willing to get up there and spend times off the clock to do it. I'm willing to spend some of my own money to do it, and I'm willing to listen to people that don't agree with everybody else. I think that we have to have different trains of thought if we ever have to get down the track. You know?
That's right.
So that's why I would tell people to vote for me. Is look at what's going on. Just look out your doors. Look at the crime reports. Look at what's going on. If you're happy with the way things are, don't vote for me. Do not do it. Okay. If you think we need to change, if you think young people should have a voice and there should be some programs for them to do things other than just be sent to jail, prison eventually, then you need to vote for me. And I'm going to be there, and I'll always be an evangelist for our young people.
That's right.
But I'm also about accountability.
That's right.
We need some options, and it's just time to come up with that.
I love it. How do we get in contact with you if someone wants to sign or they want you to come speak or anything like that? They want to know more about your campaign. How can they get in touch with you?
So the easy way is to go to mattforjustice.com. That's my website, mattforjustice.com. I'm a self-funded campaign. I did not want to take donations, and I didn't want to create a committee. So I paid for my own website. I built my own website. I had to learn how to do that. My social media page. It's a lot. And I only bought 100 yard signs. So out of the 100, there's 98 in the county right now. That's minus the one in, 97. Minus the one in my parents' yard, minus the one in my yard, and minus one that got ran over by a zero-turn mower in Gautier. So I'm not even buying any more signs or putting them out. What you see is what you get.
Okay.
But you can support me by sharing my social media page. I got Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I just started a YouTube channel with something you can share with students. Anybody that's looking this summer to try to remember the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, I put a fun hand signal way to remember that up on my YouTube channel. But mattforjustice.com, you can see my resume, read more about it. If you email me from there, it comes to me, not some assistant, and I will respond to you personally. So that's where you will find me, mattforjustice.com.
All righty. Do you have any final words?
I just want to thank you for having the courage to create a show where people can come out and share their thoughts and things like that with people. It's hard to get an outlet these days that's not noisy and that doesn't turn into some salacious hate speech like social media. I appreciate your willingness to have me on here, and I hope that we see each other again in a way that our future is turning into something even more positive.
Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Hoggatt. Well, you have it. We have Mr. Matt Hoggatt running for Justice Court Judge in District 3. I thank you for tuning in to the Lavish Show. Make sure you follow his website,
mattforjustice.com.
mattforjustice.com. Thank you.
From my block to your block, we are here to stay. Jesus all day, every day we pray for a change to come. He's the only way to escape the pains of yesterday. From my block to your block, we are here to stay. Jesus all day, every day we pray for a change to come. He's the only way to escape the pains of yesterday. As I look out of my window, see babies on the corner selling their dope, trying to make another donor out of a man being deprived of a need. Could only be self-expressed when he followed his needs. Give thanks to the Father who all blessed and flow. Stop murdering your brother who buys your dope. Let's give him a helping hand in fix his need from society. Butcher his mind as they please. Word up to all the knowledge learned on the street, but it doesn't give peace to the prostitute and need pimp. We keep it pimping when we chase paper trail like it's good until everything else fail. Message, the real message is to follow Yeshua. Give him your life and